Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 40 of Egginburgh. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Or really, should I say bonjour people, because today we're going to be playing with the French pack. I've been thinking where we can put this in Egginburgh. Now I know a couple episodes ago we set up the town frame over here, but I don't think this is really suited to be a French district. It's kind of out the way, and I think the buildings will just look a little bit odd over here. So I'm thinking we can probably rebuild the Whiskey Town Centre here. A lot of this is zoned. There's medium, there's low density where I don't want it. And there's all these little green patches knocking about because the mods weren't out when we started building this area. Like all this stuff here is just a little bit annoying. So I think what we will do is tear out every building here and essentially make it a French district, which should sit really nicely across the river. Because of course the whole idea here was to have Bourbon as the more American high-risey district, with this being a little bit more kind of tasteful European here. So let's rip out Whiskey Town Centre, all of this zone nastiness, and play with some French, shall we? Vive la France, everyone. And it's gone. And we have a ton of people now leaving the area. We'll probably take the trams as well, which would be nice, so there's a bit of public transport money. But we have a big canvas to work with here, so a lot of this, thankfully, is fairly zonable. It's not broken grid, so we can do a lot of zoning. We don't have to rely on plopping for 99% of it anyway. So let's start with some of the fantastic new service buildings. We definitely want to meet some more education demands today. So I think, first of all, we'll bring in the high school. Now, I'm actually wondering, how do these compare to regular upkeeps? They're actually slightly more expensive, but it's okay. We'll be able to deal with it. So let's get the high school in first of all. So again, I want to always maintain a crawling height into the city centre. So with these larger, chunkier, deeper buildings, let's see if we can find a nice spot for these. Let's have this one maybe just on the edge over here. And we'll have it right there. So there is a video on the channel showcasing all these new assets in all their glory if you want to see them individually. But let it be known, I am an enormous fan of this pack. It has got me very excited for all the other ones to come. So we can do the courtyard extension. This is just well-being, isn't it? And we get student capacity with the science labs, which we'll do. And we'll also do the courtyard extension as well. I'd like to do some detailing through here again today. So while we can see it, let's see how it's going to work out. Let's grab a new node onto this one. We'll pull it down on 180 degrees. And then we can have this as a bit of an alleyway, which I think will be very fancy. I would also like lots of tree-lined streets, but we'll come to that in a second. So we've also got a lot of office demand in Egginburgh, so let's go ahead and just see how these buildings behave with a bulk zone. Let's see what grows in and just see how it develops, because I want to see just what grows. Now, there's going to be quite a lot of empty space left in the middle there, isn't there? Well, that grows up. Let's come back to more services. I would also like the college as well. Now, I said in the showcase that I would love to try and double these up. I think they're kind of built for it, aren't they? The extension this is just a rooftop extension, which adds student capacity, which is going to be great. How do we want to handle this duplication? I guess we can just put 2 of them down. And then see how we can possibly fuse them together. Maybe this one on the corner is the one to go for. How do we feel about that, I wonder? They're very natural fusing, that one, isn't it? Almost like they're designed to be together like that. I suppose we could essentially fill the whole block. How much are these? And we're spending a lot of money, but we do need... Oh, there we go. That's actually already college capacity met, isn't it? Which I'm happy with. And we can also got the room there to add extra capacity when it does drop back into the green. That's the first time in forever Egginburgh has had green college demand. Finally, an asset that allows us to do it properly. Cool. I think I'm on board with that then. I'll be happy with that. These buildings are still growing up, which is okay. Let's go ahead. Now, I know we don't have any commercial demand, but we'll map out some areas for French mixed use. I suppose instead of saying, yes, please, today, we should say, oui, s'il vous plaît, if my high school French serves me correct. So that's okay. We've got that in there. Let's go ahead and draw in a box of mixed use here. Let's go and add some more services. So we could do with an elementary school. Let's grab the French elementary. This one's a little bit lower down and has quite a nice back out of it, doesn't it? So let's have this one here on the way into the town. We'll push this up. It's going to have a tram stop out the front of it. I think I like that. How does that do to education demand? Let's maybe do one more. And it's an asset that looks like it would just wonderfully extend, right? We'll use move it and our control function just to allow a finer movement there. Let's have a look at that. Aren't they great? I'm an enormous fan of them. A much bigger fan than I thought I would be. I'll admit that. I'm a huge fan of these French asset packs. Because this is only the first of many, isn't it? There's going to be Japan, Germany, UK, West Coast US, East Coast US. Lots more exciting fun to come. I like that. And again, as we mentioned in that kind of asset showcase as well, they don't really look like schools, do they? So you can use them in the city centres here without really kind of using them what they're supposed to be for. We do have some upgrades. Is this extra capacity? It is indeed. What does that leave us in? We're very nearly back in the orange. So I'm going to do that as well. Let's put Anarchy on for that. Cool. Did I turn you off? I did. Didn't mean to do that. Super. That wonderful. Do we have a bus stop here? Where are you coming from? Tell you what, it's probably an idea to have the bus stop there, isn't it? We'll have this yellow bus line stop right here, although there is two bus lines, isn't there? Well, I guess both can stop there. I'll always appreciate the extra convergence, so we can have the school stop and the tram stop right outside the front. I'm pretty sure this isn't normally this busy. This is just because we just deleted all those buildings, so now everyone's trying to leave, but that'll clear up over time. What does that do for our education demands? Really not too bad at all. I'm very, very happy with that. And we will maybe place another elementary school, but let's move on to something else. So we also have the French stuff again. How does this compare to vanilla? That's 82,000 a month in upkeep, is it? Oh, is that right? That seems excessive for 6 fire engines is 8,400, 10 fire engines is 82,000. I feel like that maybe should be 8,250. Not sure on that one. Either way, we'll place down the other firehouse that isn't as insanely expensive. Now this one here, I mentioned in my review that it looks like a little bit of a municipal building, doesn't it? A bit of a mayor's office, if you like. I think what I'm going to do is budge that back up to the back road there. And then let's grab probably just an alleyway road will be fine. Let's just come to angle on the side of a building at these two here. And then let's just go from here. We'll also do existing geometry too. And then there. Now I don't want the traffic lights on those roads, so let's remember to turn those off. Goodbye, that one doesn't have any. Cool. And then do we want to add the upgrades onto this one? It does significantly expand the footprint. What do these two do here? That's an extra 2 fire engines. And that's quicker response time. I think I do want those 2 front buildings on it. And how do we feel about this kind of a little bit set back off of the street? We can do some more detailing around here. Oh, those office blocks are in. Isn't that wonderful? Not entirely sure how I feel about the open space behind them though. Would be an excuse to do some detailing. I did actually want to check. Do the bulldozer elements, yeah, they do trim off quite nicely. Well, even these walls do as well. We can really open that up, can't we? Take that one off too. Okay, I think we can maybe work with some French inner courtyard detailing there then. Let's go ahead and historical the ones that we've just removed the elements off. And then we'll touch on that in our detailing time lapse today. Very happy with that. Let's get some more of those French offices next to the high school as well. We'll do chunk there. And then we've got, what, 2 tiles left to play with there. How does that going to work with a little bit of zoning in that space? And we'll save some room around here for details. Very nice indeed. So I do like that. Again, I think better bulldozer could also come into play here as well. I think I'll probably remove the fence. And then I think I'd be happy with that. And then let's just grab that surface there as well. Extend that car park down to where it looks like it wants to be. And it's going to back up nicely onto that street, isn't it? I did mention tree-lined streets, so let's go ahead and get those in. I think it's going to be very, very French. We'll have trees here. Pretty much all the way through these side streets can be tree and grass lined. Which will remove our parking, but I'm happy with that, I think. Wonderful. And aren't they just fantastic? I'm a huge, huge fan. Great, great corner buildings. Look at that. So they zone in quite nicely as well, don't they? I thought we might have to end up plopping them. Of course, you've got to make sure you've got a sensible grid. But they do zone in very nicely. It's not a zoning technique that takes too much plopping, which is always appreciated, especially for those on the consoles. I think there's a natural extension of the road hierarchy wanting to come through here as well, isn't there? Let's come into the grid. And then some more trees, and a little bit more happy grass on those inner streets there as well. Fabulous, wonderful. So that gives us fire. Let's have a look at police now. So the police station is a little bit chunky, especially the police HQ. I think I prefer this smaller one as well anyway. So let's have this one on the corner. That's going to be very nice. I don't think we're going to need any upgrades on this one. Yeah, I think we'll leave that there. That should be really tasty. Yeah, really love that against the tree-lined streets here. Super cool. I wonder if we can make the tram maybe a different colour. Oh, do you know what we could do? Let's do red, white, and then blue. Does that just change the one tram? Oh, it's a recolour, isn't it? Because I'm changing the tram itself, not the line core there, aren't I? Okay, well, let's just paste it over then. And we can have a French tram that runs through this area. Isn't that great? That's really, really cool. We'll do the same here as well. Let's paste those colours over. Every time we see a tram, we'll have some red, white, and blue trams flowing through here. Yes, please, everyone. Or we said we play. Also, we got a police station in now. I think that's pretty much it for the service buildings I want. Now, we do have some signatures to explore. There's a residential corner building here. Let's have a little look what we could do with this one. It's not super huge. So if we have it there, do you fit nicely on the corner? I think I will use move it to budge that up. Oh, non-French tram. Let's get in while we remember. Fantastic. Fantastic. I suppose I should say, shouldn't I? Tremendous. This building here looks like it definitely wants to have an alleyway down the side of it, doesn't it? So let's allow for that. Now we could just use a regular pedestrian pathway. Am I going to be enormously offended by that? No, I think that actually works quite nicely. So let's bring this one all the way through. Sorry about that enormous scroll. That was my unlocked mouse wheel, just not playing fair. So you just come up to there. I don't want a guideline snap there either. That should work nicely. And then you go right the way back down. There is also doors along the back of this as well, so I suppose it's going to make sense to wrap that one up with texture, isn't it? Which I'll be happy with. I like seeing people walk up and down where there's doorways. We're definitely getting more office space in here, so I'm happy to have more office. It looks like we might have to plop a little bit of the mixed use, because there's just no demand for it, but I would like it here. Let's also... Oh, are you going to take up 3 spaces even though you're 2? That seems a little bit annoying. That's okay though. We'll deal with it. Let's go ahead and get some office zoning around the back here. And then all the way up here as well. We'll see how that grows in. We can always do some plopping if it doesn't play how we want it to. So having a look at more signatures, we also have the Masons des Savoirs Numériques. This is a chungus. Let's have this on a corner here. I'd like this to be quite close to the city centre since it's the tallest building we've got in at the minute. So I think I'll be on board with that. No, we should get some businesses in here as well at some point. What's this actually doing for us? 1% office efficiency, 1% attractiveness, 5% well-being. Okay. And then we have the commercial uniques as well. We've got the kind of cinema-esque looking building here, haven't we? So how about you? How deep are you going to fill that block? Pretty much entirely. So I think we'll have it over this side. This is the building with the big kind of golden murals on the front, isn't it? It is indeed. So I think I'd actually rather have this in the middle of a block. So let's just slide him over a little bit. We'll leave some tiles on each side. I definitely want residential around here as well, so let's do possibly mixed use. We'll like some apartments as well, actually, and row homes. I think we'll do the row homes a bit further out of the centre though. So you can grow up when we do eventually peak some residential demand. And we got some of the office space starting to come in now as well around the back. That'll grow up quite nicely. With those row homes, while we're talking about them, it would make sense to go ahead and bring them in now. So the zones here are shattered, which is slightly annoying, but I think I can live with it. So let's do some row housing here. I'm not sure what the best patterns are going to be to play with that, but we'll live and learn together. And then how about if we come down here? Yeah, I think I can live with that. And then we'll have those row homes up in there. Probably use move it just to budge whatever grows there over a little bit, but it should be okay in the end. Wonderful. And then any more signature buildings we want to get in this area? I'm pretty sure we've got a couple more, haven't we? Yeah, so we have the Gastronomique and the Café de Paris. And does the Café de Paris sit and fit next to our cinema? It does indeed. I wouldn't mind getting some graffiti on here. Let's come into our decals. We've got quite a few. And we could do CS modding. Let's just snap to surface here. Yeah, I'd love some graffiti along here. Extra 3.0. I definitely need to go ahead and get some more of these too. Can we also find our wall decals as well? Wouldn't mind one of the Egginburgh City Council ones. Shout out to Tigan for these. Absolute legend of the people. And we'll have Chameleon's logo up there as well. A couple of Visit Ilos posters, and then let's grab some of the stains. And then we'll do some runoff of this, because it is a very, very clean side. So I reckon a touch of rain runoff will go quite a long way to actually helping these just look a little bit more aged, if you like, I suppose is the take-home vibe here, isn't it? Just something like that. Not sure we can really get the other ones in. Guess if we just run it that way, will that work? I suppose it does a little bit. How does that look from our ground level now? Yeah, that really helps that building settle in there, doesn't it? Won't be happy with that. Very nice indeed. Could possibly do something similar here as well. Now again, this looks like a building that is just begging to be duplicated, doesn't it? Like it wants another one. Now it is a unique, so you can only place them once, but what was this one actually called? Let me check. The Mason, that should bring it up if we just search for that. No, so the wonderful world of Find It will allow us to place two. Which you should be careful doing this, by the way. I have noticed this kind of does really collapse production chains, but I'm willing to do it. Not sure how well this one's going to fuse. Just leave us with a very white block arse end on it, doesn't it? Maybe over here is the better fuse, and then kind of similar to what we did with the college. Yeah, I think that's probably the better arrangement, isn't it? Something like that. It doesn't have its connection there, which is fine. It's not going to be happy with me doing this. If we bring you over... Yeah, the connection is the front of the building there, isn't it? Then we'd have to bring this one over to make it look how we want. But I'm not against this. It does take away from the corner, but again, I think if we use the surfaces to our advantage, let's just bring this one flush with the pavement, and then we've got some room for a bit of a prop corner out here, haven't we? Is that what I'm happy with? I have to admit, I do like it. They do piece very nicely together. Some more stains required around the back, but we do have a ton of zonable space here, so we could bring some in. I think we will just plop in for a second. The service vehicles are so loud. Like, we really need to balance that out. So we'll search for FR and then let's set our lot depth up to 4. Let's see what this brings us for residential. So if we can piece some of these together. Happy to get a bit of a mix and a match in. How are you going to piece together there? It sits and it fits, doesn't it? Got a 3x4 this way. Let's complete that corner there. Although I would like corner unit. Why don't we switch to mixed use in that case? Then we'll just grab a corner. And then we can switch back up to something that's 1x4. Let's try and keep them slightly varied at least. And how do you feel about that block there? Yeah, I'm going to be happy with that. Get a little bit more stains and roughness around there, but that's going to give us a much more interesting street corner, isn't it? I think I'm going to be on board with that. Very nice. Loving the French trams. That is possibly the best bit of the episode. Really enjoying that. That office zone has peaked again, so let's go ahead and get some more in. Definitely around the back here. It would be welcome. And we'll also continue that grass and tree lining through here as well, where we want it. I don't really want to remove the welfare office. It's not particularly French here, though, is it? I suppose it's fine, though. I guess we can live with it. Cool. I'm really liking the way this is coming together so far. Let's get some more residential shapes in here. These 5x4 numbers are possibly my favourite, how they're like 3 assets together. I'm a huge fan of these. It's going to give us more really interesting street corners as well. Let's get some more residential in here. I definitely don't want it just to be offices. That's the one we're already using. So we'll do chunky one there. And then let's bring our lot depth down and do FR corner. Let's see what we can get in. Let's do one like that. Yep, happy with that. Then we can take our French corn filter off. I've also just realised they've already had their thumbnails done. God, that was quick, wasn't it? They weren't there yesterday. So we'll get some little 1x2 ones in. Little French townhouses, yes please everyone. And then I think around the back of the colleges, I wouldn't mind a little bit of custom car parking behind here. And I think we can just trim off some sub-elements. I think that'll make it a little bit more believable around here. So let's configure a little custom parking lot this way. Let's do... Actually, is there any ploppable ones that will work? We'll have to bring a road up there, won't we? I don't really want a road. Yeah, okay, we'll do custom. So let's grab our networks. We'll do invisible road pathway here. Let's do... If we come into the grid there, can we do the same this side? No, we can't. Okay, let's do it slightly differently then. Do a car park there. Car park there. That should be enough. And then if we can connect them two together, and then we'll bring it out from between the buildings. Yeah, that's great. And then whatever grows up this way, I think we'll just have as office zoning. And then let's get some texture down here as well. I think we'll just go for the regular European concrete that we use for these areas. Just throw ahead on our markers as well so we can see where the boundary is. Or I guess, do we actually need to do that? We've already got the texture here, haven't we? We could just throw that over the whole courtyard. That'll work. And then through here as well. Because that is just a lot of very neutral grey. And we'll get some stains in here as well. Let's jump into our decals, grab some stains, and we'll do... Yeah, the collection's getting larger every episode at the minute. But I'm happy about that. It's nice to get all this stuff in for CL2 finally. Let's just dirty that up. Wouldn't mind the occasional puddle as well. And then we'll get some potholes around too. Some security barriers. And probably get some damage knocking around as well. Especially around the street entrance. Just to rough up that bit. You really use tons of decals everywhere, but I think when you end up with a huge, very clean space like that, It does help it. Yeah, I'm on board with that. Really love those pothole decals as well. I'm enjoying them. Fantastic. That'll go up with the offices in and around it. There's a couple of non-French trams. Get these guys painted up. And then we've also got some more zonable space behind the school as well, which will fill with office blocks. We'll let that grow up. But I think otherwise, that leaves us at a good place for a detailed time-lapse to go ahead and fill in the remaining spaces with themes that we've talked about. But we can get down here and just enjoy a little bit of a walk through our brand new French district. Which is weird. I love this main street view down here. That's very fancy, isn't it? All the way up to the castle now as well. An even greater sight line, isn't it? Very nice. And let's keep zoning up. It's going to be mostly office, I think. The city just doesn't have demand at the minute for pretty much any commercial. So I'm pretty sure we need quite a lot of industry. But either way, we'll zone up, detail up little back ends of the buildings like this. We've got a lot of detail to do in these kind of main cubes like we've done around the backs of the college here. It won't always be car parking, but we'll just expand the prop pallets that are already on the buildings. Spaces where the residents can enjoy croissant, baguette, and the finest red wines that Egginburgh can produce. But either way, let's detail up our brand new French town centre, and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, let's have a little knock around our brand new French town centre, shall we? So we'll head down the main street where the trams cross over the entrance roundabout. We'll arrive at our schools, which have had some stains added onto them. Our French trams are tremendously busy. There's loads of people using the public transport down this main road. I seem to be suffering from the homeless bug again. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it's come back. I thought it was fixed, but either way, ignore the streams of homeless people stood outside of the buildings they were evicted from. Out here, we have a pathway up to our main, guess what we're going to treat as a bit of a mayor's building here, a bit of a town hall, some kind of city administration, if you like. We got a park behind this, backing onto some of the other French assets, a bit more kind of social housing here. Blended in as the edge of the city, as they approach the highway road here that heads up to West Whiskey over there. And then as we head over this way, we've got a bit of a crawl in height here using some of the lower buildings. There's a whole bunch of things here. It's residential, mixed use and office mainly. You see where you got some of the mixed use down here as well. Which some of them have filled out with buildings, some of them still waiting. So as that demand comes in, this space is there for them. So over time, as we continue to build, they will fill in. And this continues all the way down. And aren't they just so good? Like, this is seriously one of like my favourite packs ever. Huge fan of them. Extended the textures that were at the back of the welfare office with lots of walkable space around here. Some extended detailing tables against the edge of a building. And then this also cuts through here as well. These blocks continue along this way where we then come on to a car park extended out the back of the high school here. This is all walkable pathway as well should they want to use it. Then as these blocks come out, we extended all the props and the decals around here, dropped in some playgrounds for the people living in the apartments and the mixed-use buildings that now make up all this block. And we have a really, really super... Look how busy that tram is. Crazy, isn't it? Super busy. Oh, there is a non-French tram. I am still slowly grabbing them all. Most of them are done now, but there is the occasional green one still knocking around. A huge fan of this walk down here. Just super, super nice. Really like it. The cinema building I ended up knocking back so it would fill the flush wall this side of the street. But the indentation on the street there is really, really nice. I dropped some props out the front of it. Fountains, benches, bins. Everything you would expect to find on a high street like that. And isn't that just a wonderful shot there? I really, really like that angle. Super nice. I really like how we've kind of reformed Whiskey Town Centre today. The unique fusing of the unique offices came up quite nicely. And we have some really nice street corners through here. Again, eateries, food carts, fountains, bins, benches. Everything that we know and love really gives us a really sweet street corner here. Especially love the view down the main street to that bridge and then of course across the river to central Bourbon. And maybe when we do get the US packs, maybe we can do a similar redevelopment for Bourbon. Get rid of some of the assets we're not a huge fan of. I just think they're so much fun to play with, and it's really given Whiskey a ton more personality today. Behind the fusing of the offices, we have a little pathway coming through here that has actually had, which isn't supposed to be there, so remove that zone in now. So people can drive up and down this little kind of broken, cracked alleyway into some parking behind where there's bins, a little bit of parking, and some rain runoffs on those very clean white sides, which I think I'm happy to have. Of course, you do see a lot of white buildings in France, but just a grub and grime goes a long way, I think, doesn't it? Just those rain runoff decals from Sully or a Lifesaver for stuff like that. And there's bins and whatnot knocking about in here. Pretty tasteful. I really like the little details tucked in behind the buildings there. Super big fan. This brings us back to the main street where we have little pathways cutting through here behind our police station. And then over this way, back past the theatre building, behind the college fusing, we have some more surfaces where we can see cars using that alleyway, which is very, very nice indeed. Pulling back out again, lots of cracks, couple of cones around the potholes, safety barriers nearby to the parking and whatnot. Doesn't that work just tremendously well? See people using the props over here too. And there's a very interesting thing happening there, isn't there? Not entirely sure what's going on. The side of the tables at least. And then this blends really nicely with all the bins on the back of the college, doesn't it? I'm a big fan of this. You can see into like the little glass window there too. Really sweet. So love the behind the building details in this part of the city. It really adds a lot more personality to it, doesn't it? And then these blocks continue. We've got some of Tiggin's Egg City tourism posters, Visit Navaria, Ilos and Palavan of course. which playlists are linked down below, by the way. If you haven't seen our other CS1 cities, they're always a treat to go watch. And then again, respecting kind of a grander crawling height away from that city centre with the school and the office fusing. Again, there's no high-rises around here now, which is really what I wanted with this part of the city. I really wanted the high-rises to be in Bourbon, which of course we have. And this is a much more kind of tasteful European crawl up to a height, isn't it? There's more detailing around the back of this building as well, with expanded playgrounds. Just using the props that were already on the buildings, of course, just to add a bit more something into those big blocks that don't quite fill out to 6 by 6 deep. Then that brings us back around to the tram road, which I also just tree-lined and bush-lined a little bit as our French trams now come up and down Main Street back to West Whiskey, all the way up to the castle there. And that leaves us with a tremendously little fun, kind of French-themed town centre here, which I've had a lot of fun putting together today. So if you have enjoyed it, likes, comments and shares below always go a long way to helping support the channel. And a massive shout out to the patrons that make these videos possible. The royal call to Andrew Perez and O'Higgs, seeing our beautiful golden eggs. Links below if you are interested. As I mentioned before in yesterday's video and today's video, and it's really got me excited for the other ones arriving: Germany, UK, Japan, and the 2 American ones. It's so cool to see how many assets you get and how flexible they can be, and possibly for the first time, maybe a little rural French build is in the pipeline. I've really enjoyed using this pack and definitely want to explore more of it. Otherwise, next episode, we'll get that stadium done in the new town that we built last episode, and that is ready to be expanded now, and then we'll review what's left to happen in Egginburgh, because we will be possibly coming toward a close after that. There's not too many projects left to do besides kind of more awkward builds like space centres and things like that. But either way, we'll see. Please do enjoy some cinematics today, but I'll shut up and leave it there. I'd like to thank you all so much again for watching. As always, enjoy the rest of your day.